This upcoming lunation in the very diplomatic and relationship fostering air sign of Libra will definitely be one that will offer us a lot more energetic support around our relationships and specifically our communication skills. So whether that looks like finally finding the words to clearly express deeper rooted emotions and thoughts, or finally finding more clarity around how to set in motion or bringing to life any sort of ideas that you might have been playing around with. This high energy full moon, also called a pink moon, will be offering a lot of support within these realms. And before we continue, hello friends, it's your girl Alina back for another video. And in this one, we will be diving into the 5 things you need to know all about this upcoming full moon, also called a pink moon, in the cardinal air sign of Libra. This lunation will be happening on either April 5th or 6th, depending on your time zone. And in this video, we'll be diving into all the top transits surrounding this lunation, ways that we can best align with its energy. And of course, at the end, I will offer some custom full moon journal prompts so we can write and reflect together. So first up, this will be a pink moon, which is the name given to the first full moon of spring, which describes the first pink baby animals and sprouting plants that indicate the beginning of spring. Mirroring nature from more of a seasonal perspective, this lunation can be an indicator or a powerful reminder to water the budding plants that are your astrological New Year's intentions or intentions in general. If you're in the southern hemisphere following your autumnal equinox, now is a great time to reflect upon what you're ready to let go of, getting ready for the coming winter. Now, full moons in general are seen midway through the entire lunar cycle, where the full moon is seen as its energetic peak, where we see that the sun's light is fully reflected onto the moon's surface, and we see it reflected back onto us, making it a very bright, oftentimes evening. And just as we see that the moon is at its light and energetic peak, so too can the momentum around any intentions that you might have set at the beginning of this lunation a few months ago also be coming to fruition or at its energetic peak. And for some of us, this can look like us finally building up the momentum or the courage or confidence around actually putting things into action, actually shining light onto it. But generally speaking, the full moon is seen as what I like to call a cosmic spotlight, where it illuminates things that have and haven't been working through us midway through this lunar cycle. This is why you see many people doing full moon rituals, where they take some time to get centered, get grounded, and oftentimes under the light of the moon if possible, but that's not a requirement as the full moon's energy can be felt usually 5 days leading up to and 5 days following its energetic peak. So that will be April 5th or 6th. And they just write out where they're at, reflecting on what has and hasn't been working for them, and specifically writing out things that they're ready to shed or let go of, whether that be people, places, environments, limiting beliefs, ideologies, perspectives, insecurities, any sort of ideas or perspectives that don't serve us. And they will destroy the paper in the cleansing light of the full moon, or they'll burn it, rip it up. This is why in the Auralign Astrology Planner, all full moon pages are perforated, so you can actually easily tear them out and destroy them as a part of your full moon rituals. But with that context in mind, when we specifically see a full moon in the sign of Libra, it can be a very powerful time for focusing on balance and harmony, specifically in our relationships and partnerships. Now, this is because the sign of Libra, which is represented by the balancing scales, is all about finding that harmony and balance in relationships. So this can be a great opportunity to strengthen communication and even negotiation skills, as well as making amends or healing any sort of relationship issues. So seeing that the full moon is in this sign of Libra, the moon itself already rules over our relationships and emotions. And now we have it entering this sign, this very diplomatic and balancing sign of Libra that Libra really holds space for the dualities of our lives. And it really helps us to see both sides of the coin, especially in relationships. And so during this full moon, you might notice either yourself or others being more open to articulating how they're feeling, whether that be looking at the duality of things on one side of the coin that can potentially be a little bit more negative because somebody needs to get something out and finally vent with you about it or talk about it. And you might notice on the other side of the coin, us feeling a lot more open to finally talk things through with people and have heart to hearts. This can be a very romantic time. This type of Libra full moon is a very lovey-dovey time. If you're looking to meet people or dive deeper into any pre-existing relationships. So yeah. Now, if you want to dive even deeper into the nature of full moons, as with all of them, we see that the moon will be forming an opposition aspect with the sun. So the full moon in Libra will be opposite ends of the zodiac wheel with the sun, which will be in Aries, creating this polarity between the energies in these two signs. Now, this is because an opposition aspect in astrology indicates that the planets involved are essentially working against each other. And so full moons tend to call us to not necessarily choose one or the other's influencers or themes, but rather learn how to strike a balance between these two energies and embrace their duality. So exploring the themes of duality that we will see during this full moon, we first look at Aries, the sign that the sun is in now, and it's all about asserting the self, taking action, being independent. While Libra, the sign that the moon will be in, is all about finding balance, creating harmony, and forming partnerships. So with that said, this full moon will really invite us to strike a balance between these energies and themes by exploring how we can assert ourselves without also ignoring others or overlooking other people's needs, how we can find more harmony in our relationships without necessarily sacrificing our individuality. This is really a time to reflect on our sense of self and our relationships with others, to find ways to integrate these seemingly opposing forces into something that's more cohesive. Next up, we'll talk the transits surrounding this lunation. So first up, one of the tightest transits or strongest transits that we'll see at the time of this full moon will be Mercury in Taurus, sextiling Saturn, which will be in Pisces. Now, this is the type of transit that tends to offer support for more practical communication and more grounded decision making, specifically in areas related to maybe our finances, careers, or long-term plannings. Now, Mercury sextiling Saturn can definitely be a favorable aspect when it comes to enhancing our abilities to think more logically, stay more organized, and focus more so on our responsibilities. So this will be a great time to tackle any sort of difficulties or sort of challenging projects from a more methodical and intentional approach. Now, this is because we see Mercury, the planet of thinking, communication, all things of the air and information exchange, will be in the very grounded sign of Taurus, really bringing in this very steady and reliable energy to our thought processes and our communication styles. We may even find ourselves being more deliberate with our words and actions and prioritizing more stability and security in our decisions. Now, looking at this with the context of this full moon being in Libra, again, this will be a very powerful time for expressing ourselves, trying to delegate things, organize things, and really collaborate in a structured way where we feel more clarity around what people are trying to say to us and how we want to express ourselves to others. So overall, this transit will definitely offer us a supportive environment for planning, organizing, and communicating our goals and ideas in very practical and grounded ways. And this will be really great because coming out of this Aries new moon, Aries season, spring equinox, high energy vibes, getting excited, I feel like this full moon, along with this type of transit, is really going to help us get grounded into the practicalities of the things that we want to set in motion during the season or this astrological year. Okay, the next transit will be Mercury in Taurus again, sextiling Mars in Pisces as well. So this type of transit definitely supports, again, practical communication and grounded decision making, which is really good, particularly in areas related to taking action and pursuing our desires. So Mercury sextiling Mars is definitely an energizing aspect that can definitely enhance our ability to communicate with clarity and confidence, bring in that Mars energy. So Mercury sextiling Mars really takes a lot of that grounded communication skills that we see with Mercury being in Taurus, and it brings in a lot more confidence and stability and energy into what we are communicating, offering us a lot more clarity and confidence within that space. So again, if you are somebody who's been looking for the words to finally talk to somebody about something like, hey, I've noticed this vibe between us, or you're looking to finally articulate something with your boss or a collaborator, or even your partner who you live with or somebody you're dating. This lunation is really bringing in that cosmic spotlight, that energetic support of bringing our inner world to the surface, allowing with the tides rising, so too can what's going on inside of our mind be clearly articulated. And with this sextile, this really supportive and beautiful transit or aspect between Mercury, the planet of our conversation and information exchange and learning, and Mars, this planet that is all about our drive, our sensuality, our confidence, how we assert ourselves in a lot of ways. And in Aries season, which is it's the ruling planet of Aries, this is a very, very beautiful time for getting that out there and getting the ball rolling with things, if that resonates with you. And finally, we will see that the moon will be opposing Jupiter at the time of this lunation. So seeing that the moon, this astral body that again impacts our inner world, our intuition, our emotions, having this opposition with Jupiter, this planet of expansion and luck, it can indicate that there might be a little bit of friction when it comes to standing up for ourselves or letting our voices be heard. Now, this is because an opposition aspect, again, like I mentioned before, it indicates that the planets involved are working against each other right now in opposition. And this is calling us to not necessarily choose between one or the other's energy, but strike a balance between the two energy. But I think that it will be through leaning into this Aries energy that the sun is in, which the sign of Jupiter will also be in, that we will be able to overcome anything that stands in our way at this time. So it'll be important to just recognize that these challenges are there, but they are defeatable. And this aspect won't be as tight or as strong as the other aspects that I mentioned during this lunation, so I wouldn't be too worried about it. But if Jupiter plays a stronger role in your charts, and looking at where Jupiter will be in your charts at the time of this lunation will help to inform you of whether or not it will be as impacting, but I don't think it will be for most of us. And by the way, if this video has been resonating with you so far, then be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell, because I make videos like these for each full and new moon, along with customized full and new moon guided meditations. All right, so next, in terms of a full moon ritual or intentions that you want to set, this will be a great opportunity to strengthen our communication and negotiation skills, as well as making any sort of amends and trying to heal any sort of relationship issues or manifest any ideal relationships that you'd like to have. So with that said, to align with this energy, it can be helpful to take time to reflect on any imbalances in your relationships and finding ways to create more harmony and equality within them. Reflecting on how you communicate your needs while also communicating boundaries, if that's something that resonates with you. What aspects of relationships do you want to foster and create more of and protect through letting go of any sort of imbalanced or potentially even toxic or unneeded or limiting tendencies or patterns that you've noticed in your relationships? This full moon, and the theme of most full moons, is about releasing what no longer serves us. So if in the process of reflecting on the dynamics of your relationships and how you communicate your needs and how you receive communication and boundary setting from other people, if certain things come up for you that you feel like it doesn't serve you anymore, this full moon is a very powerful time to let those things go and give yourself grace, give yourself patience in this process of heightening your awareness of your tendencies, of your patterns, and the healing process that can tend to take some time. It isn't just a snap of the fingers on the day after the full moon, you're healed. It's more so about heightening our awareness of where we're at and giving ourselves grace in letting go of those things and being cognizant of it moving forward. All right, next up, let's dive into collective perspective. So collective perspective is a segment where I basically offer you some ideas of ways to engage in your community, connect with the collective perspective, and really move away from having these readings be so you, or me centric, because we really are a part of a collective energy. And the way that we engage with and give back to our communities can really create a ripple effect, not only in the community, but it can really enrich our own perspectives of life through meeting and interacting with different people from a more volunteer or humanitarian perspective. So, with the Libra full moon's focus on being balance and harmony in our relationships, volunteer opportunities that involve things like conflict resolution, mediation, and community building can be very beneficial and energetically aligned at this time. So, for example, working with organizations that promote peace building or volunteering with local community centers to facilitate communication and understanding between different groups can be very helpful. So some organizations that come to mind that are more readily found in most communities and cities include places like the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, and local community centers, which you can usually find by Googling your city's name and then the words community center. Now, as always, I've left links in the video description for you to connect with these organizations if any of them pop out to you and resonate. All right, and finally, let's dive into these dedicated full moon journal prompts. So what I will do is I will read out the prompts directly to you, and you will be able to find them written out in the video description. If you have your Auralign Astrology Planner, you can go ahead and flip over to April's dedicated full moon journal prompt area. I also want to mention that we are doing a full, the very last of the planners, I'm selling them for $5, and I'm selling wall calendars for $5. So if you've been waiting to get your planner, or if you want to get this as like a part of a goodie bag for friends, as party favors, or something that you've just been wanting to share with other people, highly recommend getting it, because this sale is only until we run out of planners. We have a lower stock now, so we're just ready to make room for 2024. But with that said, let's get into these writing prompts. How have your relationships with others reflected your own self-worth? Are there any areas of your life that you feel could benefit from more of a collaborative approach or asking for more help? How can you use your communication skills to create more structure and balance in your life? And is there anything that you're ready to release during this full moon? This can look like limiting beliefs, habits, patterns, people, or environments that no longer serve you. All right, I hope that you enjoyed those writing prompts. And if you did, if you feel called to share anything that came up when you were reading them or hearing them, I'd love to hear in the comment section below. All right, y'all, I am sending you my love. And if you made it to the end of this video, be sure to comment 3 bird emojis for the cardinal air sign of Libra. And yeah, I hope to see you in the next one. Be sure to get your planners while they're available. Also, I have some bad news, but I decided to cancel the live stream for the spring reflections. I'm really sorry, y'all. But with that said, I will see y'all in the next one. And I will end this with my favorite quote, and that is, be gentle with yourself, because life is about the journey, not the destination. All right, peace.